My dear readers, in the realm of public discourse, where intellectual rigor is often sacrificed at the altar of popularity and echo chambers resound with the comforting sounds of agreement, Jordan Peterson's latest conversation with Andrew Klavan in episode 426 stands as a testament to the regressive tendencies that can afflict even the most astute minds. The episode, ostensibly a deep dive into the tough guy with a purpose archetype, the lamentation over the loss of character idealism and a critique of contemporary storytelling, instead veers into a quagmire of nostalgic reminiscence and superficial analysis that fails to grasp the complexities of the subjects at hand. Firstly, the discussion on the archetype of the tough guy with a purpose reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of the evolution of character complexity in modern narratives. Peterson and Klavan, in their yearning for the simplicity of yesteryear's heroes, overlook the rich tapestry of contemporary characters who embody not just strength and purpose but vulnerability, ambiguity, and a nuanced moral compass. This oversight not only diminishes the value of modern storytelling but also betrays a startling lack of engagement with the very narratives they critique. To pine for the return of archaic, one-dimensional heroes in an era that strives for diversity and complexity in character development is to advocate for a step backward in our cultural evolution. Moreover, the complaint about the loss of idealism in main characters, as discussed by Peterson and Klavan, seems more a reflection of their own disillusionment than a genuine critique of contemporary literature and film. The world has moved beyond the black-and-white morality of the past, embracing stories that reflect the grey areas of the human condition. This shift towards moral complexity and ethical dilemmas does not signify a loss of idealism, but rather a more profound exploration of what it means to be human in a complex world. The failure to recognize this evolution betrays a troubling rigidity in their critical framework, one that favors simplicity over depth, nostalgia over progress. Furthermore, the episode's critique of the portrayal of young women in media and the derision of superhero films as void of human nature is not only misguided but dangerously close to intellectual laziness. Peterson and Klavan dismiss entire genres without engaging with the underlying themes and narratives that drive them. Superhero films, far from being devoid of human nature, often explore existential questions, moral dilemmas, and the complexities of power and responsibility with a depth that rivals any classic literature. To write off these stories as deeply empty is to ignore the vibrant dialogue they inspire about justice, sacrifice, and the human spirit. In their conversation, Peterson and Klavan lament the current state of storytelling, deeming most new stories and adaptations as deeply empty. This sweeping dismissal not only underserves the myriad of storytellers who labor to reflect the zeitgeist of our times, but also reveals a startling lack of curiosity and openness to new forms of narrative exploration. The richness of contemporary storytelling, with its embrace of diverse perspectives and innovative narrative structures, deserves a more thoughtful and nuanced critique than the one offered in this episode. In their lamentable musings on what they term the eye-rolling anti-realism of young women's portrayal in media, Peterson and Klavan unwittingly parade their own detachment from the unfolding narrative of our times. This segment of their conversation doesn't just flirt with intellectual indolence, it marries and beds it, showcasing a wistful longing for an era when the complexities of female characters were as constricted as the corsets suffocating their waists. The irony of two men, ensconced in a cloud of nostalgic fantasy, bemoaning the loss of realism in female characters, while simultaneously yearning for a past that systematically muzzled women's stories, is rich enough to be mined. Their stance not only reveals a blithe disregard for the strides made in gender representation, but also a puzzling failure to recognize narrative as a dynamic reflector of society's evolution. To pine for the good old days is to lament the widening of the narrative lens to include stories that were previously pushed to the margins, a concept as archaic as it is antithetical to the very essence of human progress and storytelling.